A very happy Father's Day to you as Rachel Daly and the Houston Dash welcome the two-time reigning NWSL champion FC Kansas City. Randy Waldrum looking for more offensive punch from his team as both the Dash and Kansas City try to climb the standings. Welcome inside the broadcast booth with Jen Cooper. I'm Matt Peterson. Both these teams at least 7 points behind the last playoff spot with over 12 games to go. But there's a different feel for both teams, and I think more pressure on the Dash on this night.
Certainly. For Kansas City, the team that's always made the playoffs, the only team in the league that's always made the playoffs, they know how to come from behind. We saw that last season. They had a rough start, but made it into the playoffs, won the whole thing. Dash haven't had that run before. They haven't dug themselves a hole and then come out of it, and they haven't scored in a little over a month, so that is troubling for the Dash.
Yeah, that's the other commonality between these two teams. No goals since May 7th for the Dash. For FC Kansas City, just 5 goals in 8 games, but they do have 3 in their last 2.
Right. Very different stories, though at the same time, same stories for these teams. One of them's kind of coming up, kind of finding their groove, and we haven't seen the Dash find their groove yet.
All right, let's get to the players to watch, beginning with FC Kansas City's Shea Groom.
Right, Shea Groom, rookie last year, had 4 goals in the season before she broke her foot and had to miss most of the rest of the season. She's had 2 so far this season, tied for leading scorer in Kansas City with Yael Averbuch. Haven't seen some goals lately. They're really expecting her to produce for the team, especially when we consider that this is the team that lost Amy Rodriguez to pregnancy, and that Vlatko Andonovski likes to play that 4-2-3-1. She's got to be the one. She's got to be the producer of goals.
Missouri native, went to Texas A&M, number 12 pick in last year's draft, scored a goal last year right here in Houston.
Right, and she was a big part of Texas A&M's run to the NCAA Final Four, the first time they made the Final Four, and that class from A&M had the most players drafted in NWSL.
And now to the Houston Dash player to watch. It is Rachel Daly. She is back in Houston after some visa issues and could be a feature off the bench for Randy Waldrum.
So important to have her back in Houston. Opening night for the Dash, she not only scored her first professional goal, she also assisted on Carly Lloyd's header goal, and then got her first call-up with the England senior international team and scored her first international goal in her first cap against Serbia. And now England has qualified for the Euro 2017, the Women's European Championship that will be played next summer in the Netherlands.
Number 6 overall pick after a record-setting career at St. John's. She is eager to be back after the aforementioned visa issues. For more on Rachel Daly, let's go down to our sideline reporter, Ben Crook.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks since Rachel Daly has been here in Houston with the team after international duty, got stuck in the UK with visa issues, didn't get back into town until yesterday afternoon, so hasn't had any time with the team. Obviously, it's a hot one here today, so Randy Waldrum didn't want to throw her right into the fire, but could potentially be a high-impact second-half sub. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Ben. You'll be providing reports all game from the sideline, so fans be ready for that. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have starting lineups for both teams, followed by kickoff. It's the Dash and FC Kansas City from Houston.
My first ever goal was to become a professional player. It's something I dreamed of as a kid, coming out of the tunnel for the first time. It was incredible. The only thing I think about was trying to find my dad in the crowd. That was my way of settling my nerves. He's my mentor, my hero. It was that moment that I realized this is my dream and this is my chance to grasp it.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
Go Run for Fun is Houston's new running program for kids, supported by INEOS and the INEOS I Can Foundation. It's a 1-mile fun run provided free to local elementary schools. Running is an integral part of great sports like soccer, and exercise is essential to good health. Our goal is to encourage kids to develop good exercise habits early in life. If you'd like to know more, go to www.gorunforfun.com. Together, we can get Houston's kids running.
Cable, insurance, electricity. What the?
Sometimes, looking at your energy bill can be like getting hit on the head with a soccer ball. Discover how much you could save by switching to Frontier Utilities. It's the same electricity you have now for less.
Nice. Oh! I don't think I need you this month, Luis. Oh, very good.
Frontier Utilities, a proud sponsor of the Houston Dynamo.
We call ourselves the Freedom Hikers.
The Turtle Cove Fin Club.
The Team Jet Runners. What we do is fun.
But so is what comes next.
In fact, what originally brought us together
isn't the only thing that keeps us coming back.
For friends who come together to reach for better, we brew a superior tasting light beer with fewer carbs and calories. Michelob Ultra, the superior light beer.
Welcome back to BBVA Compass Stadium. As you see, the Dash come in 2-4-1 on the season. FC Kansas City 1-4-3. The Dash have played 2 fewer games than some teams in the standings, so they will have some games in hand. Let's get to the starting lineups. First for Kansas City and fourth-year head coach Vlatko Anvanovsky.
Only one change from his lineup against Sky Blue. Katie Bowen, the rookie from New Zealand, starting instead of the other rookie, Alexa Newfield. Other than that, not a big change for this lineup. His usual 4-2-3-1. Nicole Barnhart, she's played more games in goal in this league than anybody else. Also, so much time, of course, from Brittany Taylor, Yael Overbush, Becky Sauerbrunn, Heather O'Reilly. Very solid lineup.
A lot of continuity in the lineup with several players, including Averbush, Scott, and Barnhart playing every minute this season. Now for the Houston Dash and third-year head coach Randy Waldrum.
One big change to the Dash lineup from last week's game against Seattle, taking out Amber Brooks, putting in Morgan Bryan in that position to let Denise O'Sullivan start. Randy Waldrum wanting more offense, more attack in this lineup, especially as they haven't been scoring a lot of goals. And of course, we talked about Rachel Daly in the previous segment. She's not starting, but I'm sure she's going to get on the field as soon as Randy thinks it's necessary.
In our injury report, it's brought to you by Houston Methodist, the official healthcare provider of the Houston Dash. Just one on the report now for the Dash. It's Carly Lloyd, still out with her sprained right knee MCL, suffered at Orlando second week of the season. She is preparing for the Olympics in Rio in August. And now for FC Kansas City, Mandy Lattice, she is starting tonight with a right hip flexor strain, and Alexa Newfield on the bench with some right groin tightness.
And it is nice to see, Matt, that Melissa Henderson is off the injury report list. She was part of the 16 in Seattle last week. She's on the bench tonight. We could even see some minutes from the Notre Dame product.
There's Waldrum and the Dash in their orange uniforms. Lydia Williams mixing it up with Rachel Daly on this sideline. In the upper 80s right now in Houston. We had a hydration break on Wednesday in the U.S. Open Cup game between the Dynamo and San Antonio FC. No hydration break last night in the Dynamo scoreless draw with DC United after that storm came through. I think cooled things off.
And just so you know, that is not the hokey pokey that the Dash is doing with John DeWitt, their trainer. It's just part of his special warm-up exercise. He's a big part of the Dynamo Academy Fitness and even helped Randy Waldrum with the Trinidad and Tobago team.
A lot of smiles on their faces, putting the players in a good frame of mind. It's Dads and Daughters Day at BBVA Compass Stadium. And a happy Father's Day to all. 86 degrees, Jen. Humidity at 68%, so it feels like 95. But based off the weather here in Houston the last week, this doesn't feel too bad.
It could have been a lot worse, but that rain last night that delayed the Dynamo game certainly helped cool things off a little bit. So I don't think we'll be seeing the cooling break that we've had in the past. One thing we do want to mention to any fans watching, there are 4 Dash players who are wearing black armbands tonight. Those are 4 Dash players who wanted to honor their fathers on Father's Day, their fathers who are no longer with us. So that's Lydia Williams, Amber Brooks, Denise O'Sullivan, and Janine Becky.
Our referee tonight is Matthew Franz. And here we go from Houston, Texas. FC Kansas City in blue, attacking from our left to our right. And the Dash in orange. Good early pressure from the Dash, but a free kick to Kansas City.
You know, Matt, I think it's interesting that these two clubs are both struggling in the standings. You know, and I can remember some pretty tough losses to Kansas City for the Dash, but the last 2 times that Houston has played Kansas City, they've won. We had the 2-1 win at Kansas City last month, which was the first time Houston had won at Kansas City. And then I'm sure a lot of fans remember that great late July match last year where Carly Lloyd had I think it was like an 89th minute goal to put the Dash ahead 3-2. But it was that game. After that game, Kansas City didn't lose for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that game put the Dash in position to be the 4th playoff team, but the teams went in different directions the rest of the way, as Roquero cannot keep it in as she targets Chioma Abogugu on this near side. Not only was it the last time, or the first time the Dash have won in Kansas City, it was also the last result for the Dash, who have lost 3 in a row since, and they had that disappointingly postponed game against Seattle.
Against Washington Spirit.
I should say, before they went to Seattle back on May 27th.
Yeah, that created a really long break for them. So they had no competitive match between May 20th and June 12th, though some of the reserves did stay and play the FC Dallas women, the ones that weren't gone with international duty in that FIFA break.
Great settle there. Janine Becky off the forward ball from Andressa. Ojai helps it on. Here's Poliana. 2nd minute, scoreless game. O'Sullivan, good takedown. The Irish international wide. Abogugu, not her best cross, but a good forward display from the Dash. They went from the defensive end to the final third very quickly. Here's Nicole Barnhart. Just about every statistical record in the NWSL. She's led the league in shutouts each of the last 3 seasons, but something interesting here, she will not take the goal kicks tonight. Leaves this one for Yale Averbush.
She got knocked up a little bit in the game against Sky Blue. We know she's had, I think, a bruise on her foot, so I think that's just being cautious.
Katie Bowen near the corner. Good tenacity there. Carrie Roquero, 1st round pick of the Dash this year. Yeah, you don't see that too often, but she's durable when it comes to games played. She may not be able to take the goal kicks every game, but when she plays the games, she's good for a shutout almost every other game, as a goal kick falls to Lydia Williams and the Dash.
Well, and talking to Vlatko Andonovski today, he talked about that she came into camp this season more fit, more healthy than he's ever seen her in the seasons that he's had her on the team. That, you know, she was struggling with a lot of minor injuries, and I believe that that's eventually what led her to fall out of the U.S. national team pool. But if she's that healthy, you know, we've got many more years to come from Nicole Barnhart.
Lydia Williams, 28-year-old from Australia, had a great season for the Dash. Tonight's her 8th start. Laddish forward, Timrak. And Brush back to her fellow Aussie, Williams. Sun setting behind us, Jen. Beautiful backdrop with blue skies mostly in the distance.
And that should make things a little cooler.
Chapman does well in the air. Andressa, about 2 months away from playing in the Olympics in her home country.
And there's lots of players on the field tonight that will be in that tournament. And for Dash fans, this is the last home game where we'll see those players. We don't have a home game again until July 16th, and they will already be gone with their national teams by that time. But good thing is the league's taking a break for the Olympics, so we're not going to have too many games played while those players are gone.
We'll see if Barnard has an opportunity to play it short here. I think they'll look for short options. If they're not on, then a field player will come back and help out. This is Becky Sauerbrunn, who could be the best center back in the world, if not amongst the top 2 or 3. 31 years of age now. Played right here at BBVA Compass Stadium in February, Jen, as the U.S. won the CONCACAF Olympic qualifying tournament.
Right, and with that final game against Canada, she became the 35th U.S. national team player to earn her 100th cap.
Abogugu for Morgan Bryan, but well read there by Barnhart.
Nice to see the attack from Bryan coming all the way up from that position, but back to Becky, kind of special for her to have that 100th cap against Canada in the final. She also got her first cap and her 50th cap against Canada, so I'm sure we'll see that again with her 150th.
Here's Ojai with space. This is what the Dash wants. Ojai, good bent ball, and a really good defensive clearance. That was Desiree Scott, and if not for her, it would have been an opportunity for O'Sullivan.
You could see Denise ready to pounce on that. And that's the destroyer, Desiree Scott, keeping it out of the goal.
That was really good ball from Ojai, very decisive, got the ball in early. Morgan Bryan, she was the best player in that tournament in February.
Yeah, she won the golden ball. 2-0 win in the final, USA over Canada. Of course, both USA and Canada qualifying for the Olympic tournament by virtue of their semifinal wins.
Knockdown, and the offside flag comes up. That's unfortunate because it was Janine Becky in a very good position. But the flag comes up. We'll keep an eye on that. It's been a problem for the Dash this year. Offside calls negating possible attacks. Andressa did not sense the danger from behind and lost possession. That was Katie Bowen, the 22-year-old from New Zealand, who won it. Now Andressa. So a lively start to this one, Jen. We're just 7.5 minutes in, but challenges, some chances for the Dash.
And as we talked pregame, 3 points means a lot to both of these teams. You're not going to see either one leapfrog up the standings with a win, but they need every point they can get.
Laddish, wide left. Good movement here from FC Kansas City. Well read that time, Alicia Chapman. Look at the space she has, the Canadian, with her head up. Abogugu stays onside. Now in a foot race here with Averbush. Chioma Abogugu, good cuts. And in the end, it was Sauerbrunn to put out the fire. Just a simple example of why she's the 3-time NWSL Defender of the Year. O'Reilly up the line. Shea Broom, look at that speed, running right by Riquero. No blue shirt within 50 yards, however, as Riquero comes back and concedes a corner. Great energy to this game, as you see Riquero just walk back to the penalty area after.
She knew exactly what to do.
Yeah, she ran down Groom after Groom raced by her.
All ball on that slide tackle out. Send the ball out.
It was Groom all alone up front. All of her field players were well behind her towards midfields. Now it's O'Reilly to take this. 30-year-old New Jersey native. towards the front of the 6-yard box, headed away by Morgan Bryan, settled by Denise O'Sullivan. Andressa. Look at the space for Poliana. Laddish defending. Very good from the dash. They're moving the ball quickly, side to side. Andressa picks out Abogugu. And good hands there from Barnhart. Abogugu had her eyes set on Bryan at the back edge of the 6-yard box.
Yeah, Barnhart's going to get that ball every time. Here's Abogugu sending it in, but it's just a little too close to Nicole Barnhart, who can come out and smother that easily. Not quite to where Morgan Bryan was.
Sauerbrunn. Laddish for O'Reilly. Good ball. Timrak. Brittany Taylor now for FCKC. Abogugu defending. Does well. O'Sullivan. We've seen that good first touch. She draws a foul. I think she's been maybe one of the surprises in the starting lineup the last few games, Jen. Came over early in the season, missed preseason, very tough to do. And now she's emerged as one of the more regular starters for Randy Waldron the last month or so. Forward from Brush. Ojai tried to help it on for Becky. It's a throw in for FC Kansas City. Catch Dash Soccer in HD all season long on Root Sports Southwest, the home of Dash Soccer and Houston Dynamo Soccer. Tonight's game airing live on Root Sports Southwest. When it's not live, it's usually a replay within a day or two.
Yeah, it's going to replay tomorrow too.
Good switch. Here's Brittany Taylor, 28-year-old from Washingtonville, New York. Good knockdown from Katie Brown. O'Reilly tried her luck, blocked from Ellie Brush. Very open game we have here on a warm night in Houston, Texas. Back and forth through 12 minutes. I'm very pleased with the spacing so far, Jen. You look at the dash right now, how they're using the width of the field, spreading out Kansas City, making them work in this heat.
It reminds me of how they looked against Texas A&M in their last preseason scrimmage, where just great spacing, good touch, quick touches, really good communication between all the players.
It was Ojai with a run forward. Arlett defended, and now Sauerbrunn. Alex Arlett, Houston native, graduated from Clear Lake High School in 2014.
And during the lineup announcements pregame, when the PA announcer called her name, she got the loudest cheer by far.
Here's Ojai. Kept alive, Abogugu, but just a bit in front of Kaylee Ojai, and it's another dash throw-in.
Yeah, Alex Arlett played at Challenge Soccer Club here in Houston. Big part of that club. Let's look at this real quick, though.
Abogugu, left-footed hit, and Barnhart had it covered at the near post. So 2 or 3 good chances so far for the dash through 14 minutes. As we talked with Randy Waldron a couple days ago, Jed, he said it was a defensive display he was proud of. They really slowed down Kim Little and Fishlock, but not enough on the offensive end, especially in that second half as the flag comes up on Abogugu.
Yeah, I flew up to Seattle for that match, and I would say that's probably the best performance the Dash have ever put together against Seattle. I know it was really frustrating to still come away with no points in that game. You know, great goal by Havana Salon to win the game 1-0, but defensively they had never shut down Seattle so long as they did.
1-0. What was the result?
Then that's mostly what we've seen is a lot of 1-0 since the the win at Kansas City on May 7th.
Yeah, 3-1-0 defeats for the Dash. One of those against Orlando here, May 20th. At Washington on the 14th of May at the Maryland Soccerplex. And Kansas City, Jen, very good defensively, but as we said, just 5 goals through 8 games, although they've had 3 in their last 2 games, including a 2-0 win against Orlando at the end of May. Chapman defending Heather O'Reilly.
And their game at Sky Blue was, they didn't give up a goal from a run of play. They gave up a penalty kick, which ended up being the equalizer. So that was a tie instead of a possible win for Kansas City.
Bouncing in the penalty area. Shea Groom against Ellie Brush. Half clearance from Ricaro. Andresta helps it along. Denise O'Sullivan. Here's Janine Becky. Andressa so calm, even in defensive third. And now Brush. Great ball from Brush, right in front of the feet of Poliana. Helps spring the attack. Now Poliana cuts in. She loves to attack. Ojai. Defended by Arlett. Great ball from Ojai. Another good defensive play by Brittany Taylor. And just beyond her, it was Janine Becky going down. Another menacing cross from the Dash. That's the second of the night from Ojai.
But it's got to be more incisive. It's got to be more laser focused because, you know, too close to goal, Barney's going to have no problem coming out and getting it. And with the defensive combination, you know, Sauerbrunn, Averbush, Brittany Taylor, all 3 of those players with national team experience. You might not recognize Yale Averbush or Brittany Taylor as national teamers, but they have been part of that pool before. Yale Averbush has 26 caps with the national team.
I think a good cross, so that's inside the 6. Hit well enough for Barnhart to not be able to get to. The Dash keep that up. They're due a goal or 2 tonight.
And I remember the NWSL final last October, you know, Kansas City versus Seattle. You know, both Nicole Barnhart, Hope Solo making lots of great saves, and ultimately came down to just one goal was the difference.
Denise O'Sullivan. Brian lays it off. Ojai Abogugu. This is good stuff from Houston. Throw in Kansas City. Get your team together and sign up today for the Dynamo 3v3 live tournament taking place July 2nd at Houston Sports Park. Each team registration also includes 5 tickets, the Dynamo and Philadelphia Union that night. Early bird pricing is available through June 19. For details, visit houstondynamo.com/3v3. Good look at Alex Arlett, now 22 years old, 89 games at LSU, number 3 all time.
And what's amazing about Alex Arlett, Matt, is 38th pick in just a 40-pick draft from this January. She had already signed up for Orlando tryouts before she heard she got drafted. Not only does she make the squad, but after playing just 9 minutes in the 4th game of the season, she's started and played every minute since. Very impressive.
Yeah, very complimentary was Arlett, or was Vlatko Andonovski when we asked him about Arlett this afternoon. He said she wanted to be a pro, was ready to go and fit as soon as she came to camp. Here's Ojai, good pace. Another good ball, O'Sullivan was there, but well defended again from FC Kansas City.
Yeah, I feel like if a goal's going to come from a play like that, it's going to be the 3rd or 4th rebound. You know, they're going to have to break down Kansas City so that they eventually make a mistake.
Ojai, her 8th appearance tonight, 6th start, still looking for her first goal, has 1 assist. Again, the spacing very good. Abogugu finds O'Sullivan. Good defending though. Desiree Scott, Winnipeg, Manitoba native, now 110 caps for Canada, the number 3 for FCKC.
And Scott will very likely be on the Canada Olympic roster that will be announced tomorrow morning by Canada Soccer.
Yeah, she played in all 4 games, going 90 minutes in the CONCACAF Olympic qualifying tournament here in Houston. Good turn by Groom, but then good defending on Dressa. Becky, what a switch to pick out Ojai, right across the field. Here comes Ojai. And Sauerbrunn just enough to upset the timing. And it's going to be a goal kick. Now a corner, so some slight indecision.
Great run by Ojai, but you're right, Becky Sauerbrunn just gets enough of a toe on it, knows exactly where to touch it to make that ball suddenly not dangerous.
Brian to take it. Referee tonight is Matthew Franz, Deliana Kwan, and Nick Padanga are assistant referees. 4th official, Les Stalmach. Brian driven service, Poliana was first there, and it's a goal kick to FCKC. Les Stalmach was the central referee on Wednesday in the US Open Cup. The Dynamo beat San Antonio FC 4-0.
And we'll have another Open Cup match here in about a week and a half. Dynamo hosting Sporting KC.
June 29th. Round of 16 tie after the teams met in the quarterfinals last year. 3 late goals from Sporting KC led to a 3-1 win. Sauerbrunn with the goal kick.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, Kansas City won the Open Cup last year, right?
They did.
Yeah, they won it. I think they won it the day before FC Kansas City won the NWSL title, because I saw a Kansas City fan in Portland who had the Sporting KC jersey on, and then he was getting ready to change into his FC Kansas City jersey. That's dedication.
Yep.
So 2 titles in 2 nights for Kansas City last fall.
And of course the Royals outlasting the Mets.
There are no other sports other than soccer. You realize that. I mean, I heard there was some other sporting event going on tonight, but I don't believe it.
Yeah, some basketball game as Sauerbrunn gets forward towards the corner. Flag stays down. And a goal kick. Good defending by Poliana against Alex Arlen.
I can't believe Bianca Henniger is calm on the bench knowing that the NBA Finals are going on right now.
Keeper Notes has published the first NWSL Almanac with comprehensive stats from the league's first 3 seasons, a complete draft history, photos, and much more. Buy your PDF copy now at keepernotes.com.
And I can even tell you, Matt, that we're just...
As a Bogagut challenges and Barnhart makes the claim.
With just 3 more offside calls, Kaylee Ojai will be the all-time leading offside call leader, if that's how you phrase it. These are the things that I've learned by putting all these stats together. And that, of course, Nicole Barnhart has an amazing amount of caps as goalkeepers.
That's good skill from Desiree Scott. Clean, tidy defensive midfielder. Here's Sauerbrunn.
And I will be putting out a mid-season update when we take the break for the Olympics that will include the Olympic schedule and the Olympic rosters once we have them all.
'24th minute, scoreless game. The Dash have been the better team, more opportunities, several dangerous crosses right through the 6-yard box, but Kansas City tracked their runners well. Good win from O'Sullivan. Now it's Janine Becky. We'll see if Ojai can get there. Great speed, she does. 3 late to the box. Ojai this time goes the long route. Headed out. And reclaimed by Chapman. Now O'Reilly. Gail Averbush, New Jersey native, played at University of North Carolina. Goes direct over the top. Back heel, intended for Laddish and well cleared by Carrie Riquero. Now Abogugu. Abogugu. And well read by Barnhart, the 34-year-old off her line to clear the danger. Jen, we have to be pleased with the Dash's energy up front. They're contesting everything from Kansas City out of the back, putting tons of pressure on the Kansas City center backs.
No, and we saw this in Kansas City's last game. Sky Blue played high pressure against Kansas City. They couldn't hold it the whole game, and that's why eventually Kansas City ended up dominating that game, giving up only the penalty kick. I think the challenge is for the Dash, can you hold up this high pressure the whole game?
Cross comes from Andy Laddish. Easy claim from Liddy Williams, and more space for Andressa. Very open game. That goes from goalkeeper to attacking third, less than 10 seconds. As Ojai again with the delivery. And Becky picks it up on this near side. Andressa. Poliana, 4 at the top of the box for Houston. Great skill from Poliana, the Brazilian, with Ojai. And Sauerbrunn, the confidence to settle that inside her 6-yard box and clear it.
And I'm sure Nicole Barnhart wasn't freaked out at all. She was like, yeah, Bruin's got this.
She is a player that you need to see play in person. We saw her twice with the U.S. national team in February. If she comes to your city, go watch. You'll appreciate her game even more. Wonderful distribution out of the back. I think really gets the tempo of the U.S. women's national team going as she springs the outside backs. And we talked to Vlatko Andonovski about Sauerbrunn today, about her best qualities. He said she reads the game so well, is usually a step ahead of her opponent or even her teammates.
And if you're Alex Arlett, you know, rookie out of LSU, to be able to play next to someone with more than 100 caps for the national team and that kind of experience and that kind of vision on the field, that's going to be a great learning experience.
Brittany Taylor. Good hustle from Becky. Concedes a throw-in. Not only did Vlatko Andonovski say that Sauerbrunn is smart, he says she sees the game differently than most. Now the co-captain of the national team, of course, with Carly Lloyd. .28 minutes gone, scoreless in Houston.
You know, and I asked her in February about you know, if her teammates were going to force her to take a PK so she could have a goal, because she's gone 110 caps now with no goal. And I loved her attitude. She's like, I don't need no pity PK. She's like, if I'm going to get a goal, it's going to be a real goal.
Yeah, save a pity PK for a forward or a, you know, attacking player that
is about to break a record, maybe?
Yeah, or maybe needs a confidence boost after a long scoring drought.
Well, I know she was referencing Kate Sobrero towards the end of her career. I think she was at 192 caps and still had no goal, and her teammates actually forced her to take a penalty, but she did convert, so she retired with 201 caps and 1 international goal. Impressive.
Shea Groom now. Chapman defending. Crafty turn from Groom, but good position from Chapman. Good cut. Timrak lays it back and fired wide. That was Mandy Laddish with the shot from about 22 yards away.
And Matt Timrak's another player who, as a rookie, really burst onto the scene. Rookie of the year, I'm pretty sure, for 2013 in the league. She ended up getting her first cap and even a goal with the national team. But we haven't really seen that spark from Timrak this season. So you've got a lot of players on Kansas City with national team experience, but it seems like they're only going to lose Becky Sauerbrunn to the Olympics. It's still a question mark. Status of Heather Riley, if she'll be in the 18, if she'll be in the 22 or not.
Timrak finds space. Good block from O'Sullivan. Brittany Taylor. O'Reilly. Decent ball to the back post. And a corner kick.
Just on the 6, but she can't get her head coming down on it, so it ends up bouncing wide, a little high.
Huge effort from Alex Arlett. Doing anything to get on the end of that one. Right mindset, right mentality when she came into camp. That's what Vlatko Andonovski told us.
And our club coach, Pat O'Toole from Challenge Club, said the same thing. It's like, it's not just talent, it's also mentality and toughness.
Morgan Bryan heads away. Bowen back into the mix. And Lydia Williams now.
Now, Williams is one of those players who will disappear pretty soon to go prep with Australia for the Olympics. Most likely their starting keeper. She played the full 90 in one of their 2 matches against New Zealand during that FIFA window.
Deep throwing for the dash. Groom able to turn and pick out Bowen, but she's well defended by Riquero. The Hilton Garden Inn Pearland is the perfect place to hold your next corporate meeting, wedding, quinceañera, or your family reunion. Find us at houstonpearland.hgi.com. Conveniently located just 10 miles from downtown Houston. Dash throw in, lost by Laddish. And we talked with Randy Waldrum on Friday, Jen, about the offensive woes. No goals since May 7th. After that 3-goal game on opening night, the Dash with just 3 goals since, in a total of 6 games. Waldrum still calls it a work in progress. And one of his frustrations is that it's not just the forwards, maybe not producing. It's a back to front problem with players in and out due to international duties, sickness, absences, things like that. So things he may want to implement starting from the outside backs. You lose them for a week or two at a time, and it's hard to sort of fix those offensive woes.
And then a game like last week where you had a pretty strong lineup, but Daly's unavailable because of visa issues, and there's your missing offensive piece. They played so well defensively, but there was just one last piece missing.
Good work from Chapman to draw the foul. Williams will come out to restart. Waldrum did say it's getting better. Spent a lot of time on the offensive movement, saying they're not fully recognizing the right spaces to go into and what space is available. Timrak wins the header. Riquero. Sauerbrunn. Rare giveaway from her. Ojai now has an overlapping Chapman. Good pressure again from the dash. Barnhart comes out to claim, but that's good work. Becky, Bryan, O'Sullivan, all nearby. It's interesting, Jen. Barnhart cannot take the goal kicks tonight. That punt went 65 yards.
I think they're just being cautious.
Yeah.
If she doesn't have to, why force the issue?
Yeah, we were told a bruise on her foot, perhaps the last injury, as Ojai tries to slip around Sauerbrunn, but runs out of room. Denise O'Sullivan. Good layoff from Becky. Morgan Bryan was well defended there. That was Timrak right next to Bryan, right at the top of the box. Now Abogugu. The Dash very much in control through 37 minutes, but no goals to show for it. Poliana. She will also be playing in her home country come August at the Rio Games. Good touch from Morgan Bryan. Plays in front of Poliana. Led her well, but maybe a touch too well. Throw in FC Kansas City. Flicked on by Groom. Now it's Riquero.
And Matt, this is the second time this season that Randy Waldrum's put Morgan Bryan.
Here's Abogugu. Confident dribbling. Left-footed shot. Blocked that time by Desiree Scott.
Second time we've seen Morgan Bryan take that defensive midfield spot to maybe get a little bit more offense, and she's so much far forward this game than that May 20th Orlando game when it seemed like she was much further back. I think she's a lot healthier, not wearing that brace anymore.
Great turn from Ojai, but the pass is just a bit off as she tried to find Abogugu. So we've seen great acceleration throughout this night from Ojai, and that time tried to lead Abogugu, maybe a foot too far in front.
So close.
We'll hear from Ben Crook and Randy Waldrum at halftime from the field. I'm sure Waldrum has to be pleased with the display. shoulder to shoulder, Riquero against Groom. Free kick, FCKC.
And I think when you've got such a strong defensive unit like you do for Kansas City, it's going to have to be pinpoint accuracy for them to get through. But they keep knocking on that door.
Daly Verbush to take it. He's played every minute this season, 2 goals scored. 2 goals last year, 18 appearances. O'Sullivan doing a yeoman's effort defensively tonight. Andressa so comfortable dribbling in her own defensive third. She'll mix it up as well as she runs through Shea Groom.
She's fearless.
Poliana. Here come the dash, using the width. Lots of it on this left side. Andressa picks out Ojai. 6 forward for Houston. Andressa. That pass will work. Bryan picking out Poliana. And it's a deep throw in for Kansas City as O'Reilly was over there to defend. Dash on over to howlermagazine.com every Tuesday to check out the latest episode of The Mix Zone, the weekly women's soccer podcast hosted by Jen Cooper. The Mix Zone covers the U.S. women's national team, NWSL, and more. Subscribe via iTunes by searching for Howler.
Got an interview this week with the coach of the deaf U.S. women's national team. They're on their way to Italy right now, or I think they're probably there by now for the Deaf World Championships.
Wonderful. Any interesting tidbits you can tease?
Well, I wish I could say you could scout those teams. They said they might have some live streams of the game. Of course, they'd be in the middle of the night. But what I found interesting is that the rules are exactly the same, except the referees use flags. And if a player sees the flag go up, they're supposed to raise their hand, so it's like a chain reaction. And when they get on the bus to go to the game, everybody has to get rid of whatever hearing aids they might have, so everybody's kind of same baseline.
That's great.
They're even selling T-shirts on Etsy. Is that how you say it? ETSY?
Etsy, yep.
Yeah, to raise money for the team, because it's not part of U.S. soccer. It's actually part of the Olympic Committee.
Timrak was denied at the edge of the box by Riquero. Back. Desiree Scott. Chapman telegraphed that one, and Scott took advantage. Averbush on the floor for Bowen. Bowen, a 2-time World Cup veteran, 5 total appearances, played in 2011 and last summer in Canada. How about that, Jen? She played at the London Games, then went to North Carolina to start her college career.
That's so typical of New Zealand and Australia. They start them very, very young.
Here come the dash. Bryan leads Becky. She's onside. Abogugu down the central channel. O'Sullivan arriving. Becky's into the penalty area, but her touch was just too long. She reclaims. O'Sullivan. Ojai runs it down. Let's see if we get some movement as the dash queue up at the top of the box. Barnhart comes out and makes the catch.
They keep sending it in. We just can't get it all the way in.
Yeah, I think that's maybe one example of the dash need to be a little more savvy if you're Randy Waldrum. Such a good build-up. And then it's a hopeful cross. It's thrown it into an area where a big goalkeeper can come out and get it. Keep cycling the ball. They've switched the field well on the night.
I'm really pleased with the movement among the players, that they're not stuck on a certain side, that they keep switching spaces, keeping their head up, looking for their teammates.
But defensively for the dash, it's been a calm night.
unlike last Sunday where Lydia Williams had a lot of work to do against Seattle, she had some really great saves. And you had mentioned Katie Bowen, Matt. She scored her first international goal in the recent Australia-New Zealand series. And New Zealand will be the first opponent for the U.S. women's national team when they kick off Olympic play August 3rd.
Oh, hi, good first touch. Relentless defending, and it's won by Brittany Taylor. Now Shea Groom, but there's 4 orange shirts around her. Still spins out of it. Katie Bowen now. Onto the left. O'Reilly, no trouble for Lydia Williams. And we'll have no stoppage time here at the end of the first 45 minutes. As our referee, Matthew Franz, calls for halftime. Well, we will be joined by Ben Crook and Randy Waldrum after a scoreless first half. Let's go now down to Ben Crook.
Randy, a pretty solid first half for you guys. Lots of chances. Probably like to see a few of those test Barnhart, though.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting into that final third and creating some things around the box, but we're still not really testing her. We got to get some shots and be a little bit more willing to take that opportunity when we create it. But overall, I've been really happy with the first half.
In terms of the attacking movement, have you seen what you more of along the lines of what you want from your front three, especially?
Yeah, the front three I thought have been much better tonight than they've been the last few weeks, and I think a lot of that too is our midfield movement's been better. We've done a really good job with Andressa and Denise and Morgan and kind of keeping the ball and spraying it around, and the movement of Janine and those guys up top have been very good.
All right, good luck in the second half, Coach. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Ben. A lot coming up at halftime. We'll look at highlights from the first half and stats. And a special guest on Father's Day will have the father of a Houston Dash player. 45 minutes gone. It's the Dash nothing, FC Kansas City nothing.
Join the Houston Dash for Pride Night on Saturday, July 16th.
My first ever goal was to become a professional player. It's something I dreamed of as a kid. Coming out of the tunnel for the first time, it was incredible. The only thing I think about was trying to find my dad in the crowd. That was my way of settling my nerves. He's my mentor, my hero. It was that moment that I realized this is my dream and this is my chance to grasp it.
All right, come on everybody, it's time to go. Come on, who's excited for the zoo today?
Getting more for your money is simpler than you might think. When you shop at Kroger, you get low prices throughout the store, weekly specials, great value from our quality brands, digital coupons, and even fuel points to help you save at the pump. No spin, just savings, pure and simple. Great food, low prices at Kroger.
Working with the Houston Astros to pioneer less invasive treatments for shoulder injuries. Using advanced training programs to help the Houston Dynamo and Dash avoid injury. And using innovative healing techniques to get the Houston Texans back on the field faster. Working with elite athletes to better treat the everyday athlete. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading.
Does this look silly or okay? It's okay.
A beautiful sky here in Houston, Texas, approaching the first day of summer. And at halftime at BBVA Compass Stadium, it is 0-0 between the Dash and FC Kansas City. I'm Matt Peterson with Jen Cooper. Jen, tell us about your fashion choice.
I got a very special t-shirt for halftime. This is going to be the Pride t-shirt that the Dash is going to sell for Pride Night, which is going to be Saturday, July 16th, the next home game. So for $33, you get a t-shirt and a ticket. So just go to houston-soccer.com or call 713-276-GOAL. They can help you out.
All right, wonderful. And now to our first half highlights. A very good half from the Houston Dash.
Lots of back and forth action. But more really the Dash down at the Kansas City end. Getting it in the box, making hopeful crosses, as you were saying earlier, but not being able to finish. Nicole Barnhart, the most experienced goalkeeper in the league, always coming out to smother, shut it down, or, like in this case, Becky Sauerbrunn or Alex Arlick getting the right touch on it just to send the ball to safety.
Yeah, Ojai does so much there to turn, and then her pass is just a bit off. And there's Chapman's final cross.
Yeah, sending it in, but it's not to anyone specifically. I think, it's going to have to be on a dime for them to be able to score against Kansas City tonight.
The last attempt was from Heather O'Reilly. Now our first half stats. Kansas City actually had more shots from the Dash, but I think the Dash a huge advantage in crosses. 3 fouls each, 1 more corner kick to Kansas City. But I think generally the Dash had the run of play. They controlled the tempo. They were the better team in the first 45 minutes.
And a very different Dash than we've seen the last couple of games, at least at home, where very, very open passing, very free with each other, switching positions, seeing Morgan Bryan coming all the way up from the back, Denise O'Sullivan, Chiamo Bogagu dropping all the way back. It's great to see.
All right, we'll take our first break here at halftime. When we come back, Don Heap, he's the father of Katie Heap. We're going to have him in the booth on Father's Day to talk about his daughter's early professional career and her time at Texas Tech. Halftime in Houston. It is scoreless between the Dash and FC Kansas City.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
They're prehistoric. They've been extinct for millions of years. They're at the Houston Zoo this summer. Dinosaurs at the Houston Zoo. Journey back in time and come face to face with these massive creatures, from the feathered Utahraptor and towering Brachiosaurus to the mighty T-Rex. These dinosaurs move, roar, and even spit water. For details, go to houstonzoo.org and hurry to the Houston Zoo this summer before this exhibit goes extinct.
Go Run for Fun is Houston's new running program for kids, supported by INEOS and the INEOS I Can Foundation. It's a 1-mile fun run provided free to local elementary schools. Running is an integral part of great sports like soccer, and exercise is essential to good health. Our goal is to encourage kids to develop good exercise habits early in life. If you'd like to know more, go to www.gorunforfun.com. Together, we can get Houston's kids running.
Join the Houston Dash for Pride Night on Saturday, July 16th.
We call ourselves the Freedom Hikers.
The Turtle Cove Fin Club.
The Team Jet Runners. What we do is fun.
But so is what comes next.
In fact, what originally brought us together
isn't the only thing that keeps us coming back.
For friends who come together to reach for better, we brew a superior tasting light beer with fewer carbs and calories. Michelob Ultra, the superior light beer.
Welcome back. A good view of downtown Houston, Texas. At halftime, it is the Houston Dash nothing and FC Kansas City nothing. Welcome back to the broadcast booth. My pleasure to welcome on Father's Day Don Heap, the father of Dash rookie forward Katie Heap. Welcome to BBVA Compass Stadium.
Great. Thanks to be here.
So tonight is Dads and Daughters Day. We thought it'd be great to have a father in the booth. Katie Heap, a great story out of Texas Tech. Maybe you can just start with how she first got into soccer.
Yeah, so, we were watching a World Cup game before, when she was really young, and thought it was a great sport to get girls into, and put, as soon as she was old enough, put her right into soccer. And, it's just been a passion of hers ever since.
Youth Club was Sting out of Dallas, Texas, the 95 team, and some great success over those years.
Yeah, 3 national championships, so a lot of success there. Tattoo was her coach pretty much the whole ride, and just got some fantastic training there.
And a lot of miles logged, I'm sure, for you, and a lot of weekends taken?
Yeah, we try to make as many games as we can, and so we're blessed that she's playing in Houston, and we live up in Dallas, so it's a 4-hour drive down here.
How was the decision to go to Texas Tech, and were you able to watch a lot of her college games?
Yeah, so we made it to most of her college games, actually, over 4 years, and Tom Stone was just terrific, great guy. She had met him in some camps before going to Tech, and was very comfortable there, and she got to that campus and she just said, okay, I'm done, I'm going to Tech.
Not every drafted player eventually makes the team. Katie went undrafted in this year's 2016 NWSL draft. She made the dash. What was it like for her going from the draft to getting her first professional contract?
Yeah, huge. And, thanks to Randy, he's, watched her throughout the years, being from Dallas himself, and a good friend of Tom Stone's. And so she got an opportunity, and she just kind of ran with it. And so we're, obviously very proud of her.
It's competition up front for Katie, but Janine Becky, a former teammate of Katie's, 45 minutes tonight. Maybe your scouting report on her performance.
Yeah, great. I think the movement up front's been good. I think, the midfield's, connecting well. And so, yeah, look to see some goals in the second half.
Opportunities for young ladies to play professional soccer.
Yeah.
What's next? Do you think Dallas should have a team to give more women an opportunity?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I'd love to see FC Dallas, create a women's team.
All right, Don, thanks so much for your time.
Great. Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That's Don Heap, father of Katie Heap, Dash rookie, here on Father's Day. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be set for the second half. Halftime here in Houston. It's the Dash nothing, FC Kansas City nothing.
Cable, insurance, electricity. What the?
Sometimes, looking at your energy bill can be like getting hit on the head with a soccer ball. Discover how much you could save by switching to Frontier Utilities. It's the same electricity you have now for less.
Nice. Oh! I don't think I need you this month, Luis. Oh, very good.
Frontier Utilities, a proud sponsor of the Houston Dynamo.
We call ourselves the Freedom Hikers.
The Turtle Cove Fin Club.
The Team Jet Runners. What we do is fun.
But so is what comes next.
In fact, what originally brought us together
isn't the only thing that keeps us coming back.
For friends who come together to reach for better, we brew a superior tasting light beer with fewer carbs and calories. Michelob Ultra, the superior light beer.
Working with the Houston Astros to pioneer less invasive treatments for shoulder injuries. Using advanced training programs to help the Houston Dynamo and Dash avoid injury. And using innovative healing techniques to get the Houston Texans back on the field faster. Working with elite athletes to better treat the everyday athlete. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading.
Join the Houston Dash for Pride Night on Saturday, July 16th.
Doesn't look like any subs.
Welcome back. A beautiful view of a near full moon in Houston, Texas. As the rainy clouds have cleared, John DeWitt going through the warm-ups with the Houston Dash players as they search for a second half goal. Jen, an opportunity to look around the NWSL. We are the final game of this weekend. Busy weekend.
Some movement in the standings. You know, you've got Washington Spirit, Chicago Red Stars really asserting their dominance, and we briefly had Western New York Flash up top of the standings, which I know surprised a lot of people, but they're still up there. You know, Paul Riley really doing something with that roster.
As we take a look at the standings, Chicago Red Stars, really good regular season last year. They're atop the standings once again this season.
And Portland Thorns, not in first place, but the only remaining team undefeated. Also note Orlando Pride doing pretty well for an expansion team, but they are about to lose a very, very large chunk of their roster, more than some other teams. And you see where Houston Dash, Kansas City at the bottom, that 3 points is not going to help them leapfrog anybody, but that's a very important 3 points.
As you can see at the Dash, 2 fewer games than all but one team in the league. The other team is Kansas City with 8 games. A makeup date has been announced for that Washington Spirit game. Will be August 18th, a Thursday night.
And that makes that Washington Spirit game or standing all the more important, where they've played fewer than Chicago and Portland above them, and they still have 17 points.
20-game regular season. The top 4 make the playoffs. So the Dash, after tonight, will have 12 more games to make up ground. No, it's a league of parity. It often seems like that, but talking to Randy Waldrum and Vlatko Andonovski today, they both stressed that this year, more so than any of the previous 3 years in the league, parity's the case.
Right, talking to Randy after the Seattle game, you know, he said the first season there were teams he felt he could beat, teams he felt maybe they could beat, and teams he knew they weren't going to, you know, win against. And Vlatko said almost the same thing today. You know, he's like, I used to know there were teams we could beat, but now it all depends. And that's why I think he's been really calm about where Kansas City is in the standings. He's told the players, he's like, we're playing really well. You know, the points will come. I think on Randy's side, it's a little harder where you haven't made the playoffs. You're in the 3rd season. They made a big improvement last year to go from finishing last to finishing just out of playoff contention. So obviously you want to be in the hunt. And it's gotten that much tougher this season because now there's another team in the mix.
Yeah, it's a very defensive league this year with, you look at this, goal scoring totals for every team. Western New York leads the league 13 goals through 9 games. A couple teams with 11, one with 12, but 6 of the 10 teams in the league have 9 goals or fewer. So about a goal a game for many of the teams.
And pretty soon we're going to be into that period of the season where most teams don't have their national teamers. A lot of the national teamers from many countries will be disappearing after next weekend's games.
Here we go with the second half. Houston Dash in orange, FC Kansas City in blue after a scoreless first 45 minutes. With Jen Cooper, I'm Matt Peterson. It's turned into a nice night in Houston. A breeze blowing across BBVA Compass Stadium.
Doesn't look like we have subs for either team. No subs have been made for either team. And I do want to remind anyone who notices the black armbands, there's 4 Dash players who are wearing black armbands in honor of their fathers who are no longer with us. You know, that being Janine Becky, Denise O'Sullivan, Lydia Williams, and Amber Brooks.
Wonderful gesture.
And great for you to have that chance to chat with Dawn Heap about, you know, Katie Heap's experience coming into preseason camp, not having a contract, and then ultimately earning a contract maybe what was like a week and a half before the season started. She was basically the 20th player signed for this season. You know, she wasn't drafted in the draft in January, but I know Randy did extend an invitation to her pretty quickly. It's like, we'd love to have you in preseason camp. And I think it's really impressive what Tom Stone has done at Texas Tech. Like, you know, Dawn Heap mentioned before, you know, Janine and Katie got there. They had never made an NCAA tournament, and now they've gotten deep into the tournament. So really great program there. Jaylene Hinkle with Western New York Flash, now several caps with the U.S. national team.
Sauerbrunn scoots past O'Sullivan. Slowed down by Ojai, but comfortable on the ball. There's Yale Averbush. And a goal kick, possibly. And I speak too soon as Williams settles it. Could see a debut for Melissa Henderson tonight, Jen. Comes back from an MCL injury after briefly retiring in the offseason. Of course, Daly figures to play in this one. That was another fun anecdote talking with Randy Waldrum on Friday. Soon as Daly found out she had sorted out the visa issues back in London and had her flight booked, kept texting Randy saying, "I'm ready, I can play." And Randy didn't want to have to throw someone that hadn't practiced in a while in a long transcontinental flight into a match, especially on a hot night.
Right, she'll be much more effective coming off the bench and really sparking this match.
Brian lays it off for Denise O'Sullivan. Andressa. Good win, O'Sullivan. Possibilities here. Ojai. Poliana. Here's the Brazilian. Could not strike it cleanly with her left foot, but Chapman pressures on that far side near the corner. Brittany Taylor played at UConn, the number 6 overall pick in the WPS draft by Sky Blue years ago. First year with Kansas City, has played every minute. Thrown in, Andressa. Poliana. Ojai spinning, faked across. Now a very good one just beyond Abogugu. Into a dangerous spot.
That was a laser. Let's look at that one again. Great cross from Kaylee Ohai right to where Chioma is. You can't deliver that anymore directly, but Chioma just, I think, a half step off.
Yeah, perhaps.
Don't think Barnhart would have been able to save that.
Yeah, if Abogugu had maybe anticipated that spot a little sooner, that's a right about head height for a header at the back post. But give Kansas City credit. They haven't done a very good job denying crosses, but once the crosses have been delivered, very good marking in the penalty area. Now Ohai. And she'll win a corner kick. Morgan Bryan to take this corner kick for the Dash. Only one in the first half for Houston. Here's their second. Headed out, Alex Arlett. Andressa now. Towards the back post, Ohai will settle. Near Poliana. Headed out by Desiree Scott. Flick to the back post, nearly Morgan Bryan. And it's going to be a corner kick. It came off the head of an FC Kansas City defender. As we see the replay.
And
Ohai delivering, headed off, outstretched leg for Morgan Bryan. I think it was Timrak. Slipped off the top of her head.
Yeah, Kansas City wasn't prepared for that to be a corner, but the ref read that right.
Bryan, headed out Sauerbrunn. Becky. Chapman off the top of the crossbar. Chapman from about 35 yards. And here's our replay. Chapman struck it well with her left foot. Just off the top of that crossbar.
She saw the opportunity, and Janine Becky saw the opportunity too. Just say, hey, I can't take this forward. I'm going to take it back. Give Chapman that shot.
Janine Becky. Urquero with space. Chapman, too long for Bryan, and a goal kick Kansas City. Keep up with Keeper Notes to stay in touch with all the latest women's soccer news on Facebook, Twitter, and at keepernotes.com. You better keep her notes. O'Reilly. Letty Williams does well off her line. And a decisive clearance. I think you described O'Reilly as the bridge between the generations, between the 99 team and the 2015 team.
Right, she got her first cap in 2001. You know, a lot of those 99ers, of course, were still playing. She was the youngest member of the 2004 Olympic team, scoring the game-winning goal in the semifinal against Germany. So getting the revenge against the lost Germany in the previous year's Women's World Cup. Still playing, still not very old. I mean, look at it this way. She's like 3.5 years younger than Hope Solo. She's younger than Carly Lloyd. She's just been playing a lot longer. So she and Carly Lloyd, basically the only active players, aside from Christy Rampone, who's kind of stepped away from the team, who are well over 200 caps.
O'Reilly, national team debut, age 18 in 2002. Now 229 appearances, 7th most for the U.S. women's national team. Poliana. Good numbers forward here from the dash, but again, Desiree Scott on the spot. She's been in good positions throughout this night. Arcaro takes no chances with the clearance.
One thing that Vlatko Antonovsky said about Heather O'Reilly last year at the NWSL final, you know, because he had selected her from Boston Breakers at the end of the previous season. He said she had played in 8 championship finals and won 7 of them. Why would I not want a player like that? And I was so impressed with that stat. Immediately, as all of us in the press conference room were like, okay, the World Cup, like trying to think of all the finals that he's talking about. But, you know, that experience from such a young age, you know, she was part of the 2002 Under-19 Women's World Cup team that won. Lots of experience. And still a lot of good soccer ahead of her.
Kick off your 4th of July weekend with the Houston Dynamo. Saturday, July 2nd, as they take on the Philadelphia Union on Armed Forces Appreciation Night. Following the match, get your fireworks fix with a special patriotic fireworks show presented by Kroger. Get your tickets now at HoustonDynamo.com. Dynamo with a scoreless draw against DC United last night. 2 great chances at the end. Mauro Manotas stoned by Bill Amid. Wonderful save by bright young goalkeeper for DC United. Then David Horst and Raul Rodriguez chances on the ensuing corner. But the Dynamo now under Wade Barrett as the interim head coach, unbeaten in 4. Allowed just 2 goals in 4 games. Now the offense needs to get on track.
We know that story. Well, and Matt, you were mentioning Heather O'Reilly's first cap. You know, I should point out Morgan Bryan. It was just 3 years ago this past week she earned her first cap for the U.S. national team. 3 years now, I think she's got 52, 53 caps. You know, goes from the youngest player in the Women's World Cup, then now she's basically one of the veterans.
Great anticipation of Bogagoo. But good defending, Brittany Taylor on the far side. Here's Janine Becky. And she is forced to foul Alex Arlett. The high press again working there for Andy Waldrum and the dash. It was a Bogagoo winning the ball about 10 yards beyond the edge of the 18-yard box. That started the entire sequence. This is the final part of the play. Here's Arlett. Groom. Poliana. A Bogagoo. And Barnhart able to clear. Getting near that time when subs typically begin to enter the fray. 59th minute here in Houston, Texas. Scoreless game as Ojai tries to find space. Tenacious defending by Brittany Taylor. Ojai, good ball. O'Sullivan flicks it on. It comes off the stomach of Nicole Barnhart. Good goalkeeping there. Stayed big, did Barnhart. Pottstown, PA native. Great career at Stanford. And denies O'Sullivan.
One of the closest ones we've seen tonight, Matt, like on a dime onto Denise O'Sullivan's head, but a little too much pace on it, so it just goes past her into Barnhart's stomach.
You may have skimmed the top of her head, Jen.
She was only a couple inches taller.
Yeah, off the top of her head. And I said off the chest. I think it hit the right leg, right thigh of Barnhart. Here come the dash once again. They can smell a goal coming. Bryan for Becky. That's Averbush, good defending. Ill-advised back heel from Katie Bowen. Now it's Ojai. Poliana. Low strike. And it's covered up by Barnhart. So a good 5 to 10 minute push from the Houston Dash.
And it's so great to see everyone getting into the attack. Poliana coming up from the back, striking it with the right foot, but pretty good read for Barnhart, pretty easy to read right where that's coming. She gets down, smothers it well. Now, Matt, here's some trivia for you. Did you know that Barnhart's first cap for the U.S. national team, she played as forward?
Wow.
Yeah. They were kind of all out of field players. A lot of people were hurt. So they said, hey, Barney, she did it.
Rachel Daly preparing to enter this game, getting instructions from Hiro Suzuki. Off the throw-in. Shea Groom with a shot towards the near post, no problem for Nicole Barnhart. Sauerbrunn. She does have a long throw-in. This time she goes short. Timrak towards the corner. Here is O'Reilly matched up with Ricaro. A little nutmeg from O'Reilly. She thought she may have been fouled, but a good position for our referee, Matthew Franz, who saw nothing wrong with the contact. Meanwhile, a short goal kick. Lydia Williams picks out Alicia Chapman, as Daly will enter at the next stoppage. And there's a foul. Goes against Kansas City. Free kick, Houston. And as Rachel Daly enters this game, let's go down now to our third man of our team, Ben Crook on the sidelines.
Yeah, guys, Rachel Daly obviously coming back into Houston for the first time since the international break. Assistant coach Hiro Suzuki says they want somebody to get in the box, get on the end of all these great crosses that they're getting from Kalia Ohai and Janine Becky. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Ben. Abogugu goes 63 minutes. And her 8th appearance, her 5th start. 1 goal, 1 assist this season. Daly scored in her professional debut, 3 assists this year. Tonight's her 7th appearance, her first off the bench. As Jen mentioned, she missed the Seattle game after international duty. Visa issues kept her in England. Good ball from Ellie Brush. Ohai.
As we talked about earlier, she scored her first international goal for England, and England has now clinched a berth into the 2017 Women's Euro Championship that will be held next June in the Netherlands.
Good work from the dash. O'Sullivan. Sauerbrunn clears. Janine Becky now. Corner kick for the dash.
They're certainly holding up the pressure, Matt. And that was the concern, is how long they could keep this pressure going.
They've been the better team on the night, but no goals to show for it. Numbers queued up towards the top of the box between the 18 and the penalty spot. Floated, headed down by Daly. Her first touch in this game comes off that corner kick. Chapman dangerously takes it down. Now the dash in trouble. O'Reilly was all alone right at the midfield stripe. If the FCKC players could have won possession, she would have been all alone.
That would have been an interesting one-on-one between O'Reilly and Lydia Williams.
Here's Morgan Bryan. Becky. Deflected shot falls to Daly, off the post. Now O'Sullivan. Ohai, good touch. She cannot keep it down. Chance after chance for the dash. And it's Daly cracking it off the near post.
So Daly's first good attempt on goal. Tough angle, and she has to turn her whole body back to the right. Still manages to hit the post. It rebounds. Kay comes in. I think it's gets a shot off, but no, a little too far over, and it looks like Barnhart had her arms up anyway.
Roquero. Poliana to her Brazilian teammate Andressa. This has been one of the better performances we've seen from the Dash this season. No goals to show for it, but it's good tempo, quickness in movement.
Maybe they just needed the heat, Matt. They weren't feeling at home because, you know, it took a little longer this year to get warm.
Exactly.
Instead, we had all the torrential rain and floods. Speaking of that rained out game from May 27th will be replayed Thursday, August 18th here at BBVA. Hope everybody can make it back for that one.
Good layoff, Shea Groom, and it's Roquero saving the day at the last moment. Katie Bowen, really good pass right into the path of Groom, who's had a quiet night. Dash have done a good job on the Texas A&M product.
And great job by Poliana to chase that ball down and make sure it went out on a Kansas City player, so it remains Houston Dash's ball.
Two subs left for the Dash, 3 for Vlatko Andonovski and FCKC. Brush holds off Shea Groom. Goal kick to Houston. Timrak keeps it in on this near sideline. Too far for O'Reilly. Chapman holds her off. Free kick to Houston as O'Reilly came in over anxious. Be sure to visit HoustonSoccerShop.com for all your Houston Dash gear. Grab a Carly Lloyd jersey or any of the Dash players gear straight from your phone, tablet, or laptop at HoustonSoccerShop.com. 69th minute. Houston Dash nothing, FC Kansas City nothing. Looks like Silva's about to come on for FC Kansas City. And she enters for Erica Timrak. Overland Park, Kansas native, played at West Virginia University. Made her debut last season against the Dash in that May meeting. Here she is on the ball. Or actually, this is Groom, I beg your pardon. Sauerbrunn and her long throw. Up once again. Good clearing header, Ellie Brush. Laddish runs it down for FCKC. O'Sullivan does well, pressuring Sauerbrunn. Andressa over the top for Daly. Missed clearance that time by Averbush. But FC Kansas City recovers. Poliana.
Looks like we might see another Kansas City sub, Matt. Looks like Alexa Newfield, one of the other 2016 rookies, is getting some instructions from Vlatko Andonovski.
Good stop and turn from Brian. Now it's Ojai on this near side. Daly squeezed off between a triangle of Kansas City defenders. Here comes O'Reilly right through the center circle. O'Reilly. Right off the crossbar, bounces, hits Lydia Williams and spills out near the corner flag. So each team with the crossbar in this half. Lydia Williams furious with her defensive players. They gave O'Reilly way too much time to find a shooting lane.
And Lydia got lucky that the bounce coming off the crossbar hit her in front and bounced away, as opposed to if that hit her in the back, it could have gone in the goal. Here's the sub, Alexa Newfield coming in for Katie Bowen.
Newfield from Decatur, Georgia. Played in North Carolina. Third-round pick in this year's draft. Long throw in, Sauerbrunn flicked on dangerously and cleared in the end by the dash. It'll be a corner kick. Came off the head of Brush, but accidentally went back towards her own goal.
And Matt, this is where I wonder, are the Dash losing some of that energy from the high press and letting Kansas City take a little bit more control? Or can they recover from these few kind of blips and get back in control of the game?
Back post. And headed over the bar by Yale Averbush. Yeah, that moment a moment ago for O'Reilly was very reminiscent of the Orlando goal scored here in the last home game that was played. Dash were too slow to close down on a player 25 yards from goal right in the middle, and O'Reilly nearly took advantage. Poor goal kick. Sauerbrunn, wide O'Reilly. So after absorbing pressure a lot of the night, Kansas City has been the better team for about the last 5 or 10 minutes. And now we'll see another change. It's Melissa Henderson for Kaylee Ojai. Let's go down to Ben Crook on the sideline. Ojai goes 75 minutes. Henderson into the match.
Her first minutes since last summer. Minor injury in the preseason. She was on the bench last Sunday in Seattle. Now back on the field.
Switching ball from Daly. Silva. And now let's go down to Ben Crook for more on the substitution with Melissa Henderson.
Yeah, guys, Melissa Henderson making her first appearance back in NWSL after that knee injury in preseason. Hiro Suzuki said they wanted to just get some fresh legs, pleased with Kaleo Ohai's effort on the wings, but want to get fresh legs to continue to stretch that FC Kansas City defense, especially on the wings. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Ben Crook. O'Sullivan, good anticipation. Now Becky tried to slip it through for Daly, but Sauerbrunn in a good spot. One change left for the Houston Dash as we enter the 77th minute. Good challenge between Daly and Sauerbrunn. It's a Kansas City throw-in. Newfield flicks it on for KC. O'Sullivan, a lot of touches tonight. This one maybe a bit too long for Becky. Averbush plays out of the back. Silva. And Bresch covers ground to concede a throw-in. Eighth appearance this season for Silva, 5th off the bench. Seventh for Alexa Newfield, 5 as a reserve. Andy Laddish. Brittany Taylor now for FCKC. 78th minute from Houston, Texas. Free kick forthcoming for Kansas City. After a foul just beyond the edge of the 18-yard box. Erica Timrak standing over at 1 goal, 1 assist this season. The 2013 NWSL Rookie of the Year in her 4th year with FCKC. Low shot. Came off Carrie Recaro and over the crossbar. Corner kick FCKC. Well hit that time by Timrak. And now O'Reilly standing over this corner kick. Floated towards the back post. Headed in the mix by Groom. Good block that time. And it ends up in the back of the net for Kansas City. 80th minute goal.
And we can't quite say that was against the run of play when we've slowly seen Kansas City getting back in this game.
Came off the face at Daly, and it's Sauerbrunn heading from 8 yards out.
A really strange spin on it too, but it stays in that upper corner.
And you see how much it means to her. Such a part of the national team, but
like she said, no pity PKs.
Yeah, cares so much about her club. First goal this season for the 3-time reigning NWSL Defender of the Year. And now the dash, a feeling of here we go again, trailing 1-0 for the 4th consecutive game.
And
Silva into the box. And she'll win a corner kick off the foot of Poliana.
And that's Becky's 2nd career NWSL goal. So no goals for the national team yet, but now that's 2 for FC Kansas City by Becky Sauerbrunn.
And I would say just the 2nd time in about 5 minutes, the Dash were slow to react. A long floated corner kick from O'Reilly makes it all the way to the back edge of the box. A shot's taken by Averbuch, comes off the face of Daly, who went down. And the opposing center back can head it in from 9 yards. O'Reilly's corner kick skied straight in the air by Morgan Bryan. Daly closing. Now it's Laddish. Good save. Again, the Dash slow to respond on a loose ball in their defensive penalty area. And it's Lydia Williams coming up big once again.
Gets her hands on it, parries it wide, sets up Kansas City for a corner, but at least keeps it out of the goal. You know, they've got about 10 minutes to do something, much more time than against Orlando when Kristen Edmonds had that goal, maybe what was it, 87th, 88th minute, much harder to come back from. But they have got to sharpen up, get that ball out. You can't have a clearance that goes straight up and comes back down in the box.
Mandy Laddish looking for her first goal of the season. O'Reilly's corner kick, similar spot as the last one. This one's cleared, kept alive. Now Chapman does the job. I think you're right, Jen. The Dash looks so good for 70 minutes, so much energy, but I think they may have just hit a wall. And we'll see the last change for Randy Waldrum. And for more on the change with Amber Brooks entering, let's go to Ben Crook.
Guys, the sub just trying to get numbers forward, trying to get that equalizing goal. The good news is if they do find one with time left, Amber Brooks can easily slide back into the center back position to retain 4 at the back. But for the moment, just trying to overload those midfield numbers and get people forward. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate the information from the Houston Dash sideline and the coaching staff. Free kick, just shy of midfield. We might see a warning, no booking for Desiree Scott.
So that's all 3 subs for the Dash, Matt. You know, so you've got fresh legs, especially Melissa Henderson and Rachel Daly, but they've got to do something with it.
Daly shot blocked by Averbuch. And now Sauerbrunn forward for FCKC.
And they're still moving the ball around well, Matt, but it seems like they're just a tiny bit slower, understandably after the heat, but that's what's cost them a goal.
Poliana into the box. Good work, Poliana. Andressa's shot blocked by Silva. And it's Alex Arlett who clears. Caroline Castor coming in. Final change comes on for Shea Groom. 85th minute change from Vlatko Andonovski.
And that's the last sub for Kansas City. Caroline Castor was one of their amateur players last year and ended up playing her way into a professional contract.
Poliana. Henderson, her 2016 debut. Poliana around Silva. Good work from the Brazilian. 4 in the box. They exchange runs. Henderson, Morgan Bryant, Andressa to Chapman. 5 in the box for Chapman. But the cross hangs in the air too long, and it's claimed by Nicole Barnhart.
Right idea, but as you would say, I think a little too hopeful. Not necessarily with an end game in mind so much as just getting the ball in the box.
Big punt by Barnhart. Castor runs it down against Amber Brooks. Alexa Newfields, wide for Francis Silva. Good work from Brooks, sealing it off. It's a goal kick. Castor. Too much from Ricaro, too far in front of Alicia Chapman. Saturday, July 16th, the Houston Dash take on the Portland Thorns on Pride Night. Special packages are available that include a Dash Pride t-shirt, which Jen Cooper showed at halftime, and a ticket for just $33. For details, visit houston-soccer.com. Lydia Williams. Becky, too long in possession. Kansas City kills off more and more time here in the 88th minutes.
Matt, do you think we're going to see Lydia Williams push up maybe all the way to the center circle?
Yeah, I think as we get into stoppage time probably, it's always a risk-reward issue, but she has size off a set piece deep in the area, a corner kick. She's definitely a target. Here comes Newfield. Alexa Newfield into the area. Good save, Lydia Williams. Andressa in the center circle. Wide here for Henderson, has to back off as it's won by Alex Arlett. Took a deflection, FC Kansas City throw, and we're gonna have a retroactive yellow card for Carrie Ricaro, issued by our referee, Matthew Franz. First booking of the night goes to Ricaro here, 89th minute. Chapman. Becky towards Daly.
I mean, one of the things I've liked tonight from the Dash, Matt, has been everybody's trying to take a shot. You know, and not just in these last few minutes when they really need a goal, but the whole night we've seen a lot of offensive output.
Cleared by Silva. Bryan lost her footing. Here comes O'Reilly. 90th minute, taking it to the corner like a wise veteran. Bryan does well, she draws a foul. Has won her second half stoppage time.
Bryan and O'Reilly probably facing off in national team camp a lot.
3 minutes will be added on. 3 minutes for the Dash to find an equalizing goal, or they'll suffer their fourth consecutive 1-0 defeat. O'Sullivan. Amber Brooks. Morgan Bryant. Just beyond Chapman. And a corner kick now for the Houston Dash.
And there you go, Lydia Williams coming up all the way to the midline. Maybe she can have a long distance shot.
Andressa to take this. Towards the back post. Palmed away by Barnhart. And we'll roll out on this near side. Becky will play this one short, about 90 seconds to go. In fact, she'll leave it for Morgan Bryant. Towards the middle, headed out by Sauerbrunn. O'Sullivan, and a whistle's past the post. That would have been spectacular for Denise O'Sullivan.
So close. Great one touch. You know, she's going the right direction. Good to just shoot across her body, out of Nicole Barnhart's reach, but just a little too far past that post. Averbush with the kick again instead of Barnhart.
Less than a minute to go. No chances taken by Brittany Taylor. Put it into the second deck here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Dash to play with urgency. Chapman does just that. Leaning over the field boards to grab a new ball. Good defending once again from Desiree Scott. She clears it over midfield. Daly down behind the play, but back to her feet. Andressa. Amber Brooks, Morgan Bryant spinning. Daly, back heel. Chapman was on the wrong side of O'Reilly though. Shot from distance, this one just over the bar once again. That from Amber Brooks.
And we saw that same shot from her in the Orlando game again when she came on as a sub. Taking it from distance, she knows she's got to be aggressive, but just a little too far over. Looks like, no, Nicole didn't quite get a hand to it, but pretty close.
Averbush set for the goal kick. And it won't even happen. There's the full-time whistle right past 3:30. And a disappointing end to this one for the Houston Dash. They fall 1-0 for the fourth consecutive game. Winning goal scored by Becky Sauerbrunn late in that second half. Heading in, a loose ball bouncing in the area after a Heather O'Reilly corner kick. We'll take a break. We'll wrap things up after this. Some highlights, final stats, and final thoughts. Full-time score from BBVA Compass Stadium. FC Kansas City 1, the Houston Dash 0.
Join the Houston Dash for Pride Night on Saturday, July 16th.
My first ever goal was to become a professional player. It's something I dreamed of as a kid. Coming out of the tunnel for the first time, it was incredible. The only thing I think about was trying to find my dad in the crowd. That was my way of settling my nerves. He's my mentor, my hero. It was that moment that I realized this is my dream and this is my chance to grasp it.
They're prehistoric. They've been extinct for millions of years. They're at the Houston Zoo this summer. Dinosaurs at the Houston Zoo. Journey back in time and come face to face with these massive creatures, from the feathered Utahraptor and towering Brachiosaurus to the mighty T-Rex. These dinosaurs move, roar, and even spit water. For details, go to houstonzoo.org and hurry to the Houston Zoo this summer before this exhibit goes extinct.
Working with the Houston Astros to pioneer less invasive treatments for shoulder injuries. Using advanced training programs to help the Houston Dynamo and Dash avoid injury. And using innovative healing techniques to get the Houston Texans back on the field faster. Working with elite athletes to better treat the everyday athlete. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading.
Randy Waldrum talking things over with the Dash after Kansas City steals a late 1-0 win for FC Kansas City. Let's go down to the field with Ben Crook and the game-winning goal scorer.
Guys, we're here with Becky Sauerbrunn. Becky, walk us through that game-winning goal. Looks like you just, ball fell to you, saw the open net, and picked it out.
Yeah, Yael and I had been kind of switching off back and forth. He was going back post, and she actually kind of just went back. She headed it. Yael got a side volley that just ricocheted, and it landed right on my head, and so I was pretty wide open. So hopefully I wasn't going to miss from there.
How important was this result for you guys? Obviously, near the bottom of the table, not where you guys want to be, but a stepping stone for you guys going forward?
Absolutely. We know we have to go one game at a time right now, and so 3 points is huge for us, and we kind of are starting on an upward trend right now, and we just need to keep the momentum going.
Great. Thanks, Becky. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Ben, and thanks to Becky for making time after the game. Jen, 1-0. It's been the story for 4 straight games. I'm sure very frustrating for Waldrum and the team.
Though each game has been its own story, and I'd say of all the 4 1-0 losses that we've seen, this has been the most frustrating in that the Dash really dominated most of this game, had so many offensive chances and couldn't finish, whether it was because they weren't accurate enough, weren't passing sharply enough, or because Nicole Barnhart and the Kansas City defense were coming up and making a great save. So really tough for the Dash not to get 3 points here. Just one more game before they go on another break. They're at Orlando this Thursday, and then they don't play again until July 9th. And at that point, all your national teamers are gone. So I think Randy's really going to be looking at Orlando as we've got to send them off on a high note.
All right, let's get to the highlights from the second half. It was scoreless through 45 minutes. The Dash continued to dominate early in the second half.
So much action from this one. A lot of great crosses from Kalia coming up that right side, and also, you know, she's making action from both sides, but they just couldn't, you know, get the final touch, whether it was the crossbar, whether it was Nicole Barnhart, or in some cases the ball going over. I like that we saw offense from so many different players, you know, and then you had Rachel Daly come in, Melissa Henderson come in, and finally Amber Brooks come in as a sub, get some fresh legs, kind of mix things up. Great touch here by Rachel Daly at a really tough angle, and she actually gets it on frame, but it hits the post, bounces back. They feed it out to Kaylee O'High, who's got a great shot, but no problem there when it goes, you know, high and over the goal. And then, of course, a great shot by Heather Riley when the Dash left her on mark. Lydia Williams getting very lucky that as she came down from the initial save, it bounced off the front of her as opposed to, it could have bounced on the back and gone in. Then following up, just a really strange bounce from Yale, right to Becky Sauerbrunn's head, like she said. That's her second goal within NWSL, third professional goal overall if you count Washington Freedom and WPS. Lydia Williams then coming up big to keep it 1-0. Denise O'Sullivan so close. And Amber Brooks, like we saw against Orlando, taking a late shot from distance, just not being able to finish.
And our final stats after the 1-0 Kansas City win, even in shots, even in fouls, even in corners. So the stats were even. I think the Dash certainly outplayed Kansas City, but Kansas City, I would say, won the last 20 to 25 minutes.
And I think we saw that with Kansas City against Sky Blue the previous week, that Sky Blue came out high pressure, just like Dash came out high pressure, tried to just keep the action going. And, eventually Kansas City just, let them wear themselves down and take over the game.
All right, so a fourth 1-0 loss for the Dash. They haven't scored since May 7th. They go to Orlando on Thursday, have a chance to get their first win against Orlando Pride. For Brock Jessel in the booth and Jen Cooper, I'm Matt Peterson saying so long from BBVA Compass Stadium. And happy Father's Day to all. And it's Becky Sauerbrunn, a World Cup hero, a 3-time NWSL Defender of the Year. Well, tonight, it was on the offensive side that she provides the winning goal. Final score, FC Kansas City 1, Houston Dash 0.